On the night of February 21st, 2022, Aaron Cody Fortner stepped out of his trailer and vanished, leaving only a few clues behind.
And the Jackson County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help in finding a missing man. Deputies say 25-year-old Aaron Fortner has not been seen since Monday.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kozak, and when I was 13, I was kidnapped, but thankfully I was rescued. Now I'm a missing persons advocate who's sharing the stories of people who are missing today. A short turn off this busy highway leads to Aaron Cody Fortner's home in Sylva, North Carolina. His trailer, perched high on a hill, sits at the end of a long gravel driveway. Away from neighbors, it's private and peaceful. A soft breeze runs through the trees, but the traffic constantly going by adds an eerie white noise to the scene. The town of Sylva, North Carolina is located in Jackson County in the western part of the state at the foot of the Great Smoky Mountains. This was where Aaron spent his childhood and his teen years. With its mom and pop stores, mini restaurants, and coffee shops, the town feels charming, idyllic, and inviting. But Aaron didn't always feel that way here. As he started coming into his own, discovering who he is, and determining his identity, he no longer felt as welcome. I spoke with Aaron's little sister, Kourtney, and according to her, he struggled with fitting in.
He's had a hard life. He's part of the LGBTQ community. He's gay. In this town, it can be a bit of a disliked thing, really. I mean, the college has made it more acceptable.
She says that most of his family accepted his sexuality. However, it seemed that not everyone felt the same.
I was the one he came out to first. My mom and my grandparents have come to terms with it, and it's not something that they've degraded him on. We accept it, and I've always accepted. I accept anything and everything. It's not my life to live, it's everybody else's life to live.
Aaron wrestled with depression, which led him to begin drinking heavily in order to numb the pain. So he left his hometown, moved to Tennessee, and even got married. It seemed like Aaron's life was looking up, but soon his old demons started to resurface. And once again, he turned to drinking. Thinking it was best, he moved back to North Carolina, and his family set him up in the trailer. But the life he left was not the same one he returned to.
Drinking is part of his issue, and that's why we felt it was necessary to bring him back down to North Carolina so he could try and get sober.
After being away for so long, Aaron lost connection with his old friends. Socializing became difficult for him, and he was rebuilding his life from scratch. Now down the driveway and across the highway is a Dollar General that he could walk to. But barring that, there was little else Aaron was able to access on his own. Without a car or other means of transportation, Aaron was unable to easily get around. So he relied on his family or even connections that he made online. Huddled inside of his trailer, he was isolated and he was lonely. He turned to dating apps to find companionship, as well as a convenient resource to get access to alcohol.
Finding people that would come and bring him things and take him places. He was a bit lonely being up here. He had tried at one point to get me to find him a cat to bring him. But he was very lonely, so he was just kind of bouncing around to find just random connections, really.
Aaron's mother was concerned about him dating online because he had been hurt before. Aaron was sexually assaulted by a man he met online when he was 17, and his mom feared that he would once again be preyed upon. One of the theories the family has is that Aaron had become a victim of someone nefarious online. Aaron made the difficult decision to cut out alcohol completely, and so he struggled with withdrawal symptoms. His family was relieved that he was no longer drinking, but they worried about the ramifications of him stopping so suddenly, as that was also really dangerous.
Not sure if he was going to be able to make it through the withdrawals, because people say that the alcohol withdrawals is it can be a really deadly thing if you just quit.
His family checked in with him often, and he would speak to his mother and to his grandparents daily. And Kourtney dedicated herself to assisting her brother, and she did begin to see slow progress.
He was getting better for a time.
Helping however they could, his family refused to feed his addiction. But sadly, Kourtney noticed he was slipping.
That was hard to see, and I kind of felt like I wasn't giving up, but I was becoming more disappointed. And I don't want people to think that that's the reason he's gone.
She did maintain close contact. She often brought him food, and she did continue to show her support on his healing journey. The family gathered to celebrate Thanksgiving, and at the time, Aaron appeared to be doing well. This is the last time they would come together. As with most addictions, the person must want and accept help before they can ever get on the path to recovery. And unfortunately, Aaron was losing that battle. It became clear to his family that he was slipping further. He began acting strangely, and there was little the family could do.
It was rough. We knew he was falling back and going back to, or losing his progress, really.
His mother noticed that he wasn't eating, so she picked him up and took him to the Dollar General. And his youngest sister was also in the car. It wasn't until after Aaron disappeared that the younger sister told the mom that Aaron was acting really weird. He seemed to be afraid, paranoid, and was possibly having hallucinations. She said that he was talking about a dog that was outside of the car, and it was following him. His mother went into the store, got a few items, and then dropped him off at home, never imagining that in just a few short hours, he would vanish. This was the night that Aaron disappeared. Later that night, between 1 and 2 a.m., Kourtney overheard a call between a confused and afraid Aaron and her grandfather. The call disconnected, and then the grandmother's phone rang.
I was awake doing homework, so then I heard my grandpa's phone start ringing. I thought that was strange because not many people call him late at night. He answered it, and I could hear him say, "Aaron, what's going on?" He had said it was like kind of muffled and he couldn't really hear what Aaron was saying, and then it would cut off. Then Nana, my grandma's phone rang. I could hear her in there saying, "Aaron, look outside, you're at the camper." She was like, "You just need to go to bed, go to sleep. You'll figure it out in the morning. It'll be okay, we'll do it in the morning."
This is the last time anyone would hear from him. The following morning, Kourtney ran to her grandmother.
When I woke up the next morning, I was like, "What happened last night?" And she's like, "Your brother was just saying some random things. He was saying that he wasn't at the house." She said that he was talking about there was dogs outside. There was somebody following him. He was being followed.
Kourtney immediately called her brother, and there was no answer. The family called him repeatedly. They messaged him on his phone and various apps, and they got no response. Hours passed, and still no one heard from Aaron. Kourtney knew in her gut that something was wrong, so she made her way to the trailer. And she was terrified of what she would find inside.
I didn't want Mom to come up here because I was afraid of what I would find inside, and I didn't want Mom to see that. I wanted to be the stronger person.
She unlocked and opened the door, and what she saw was a complete mess. The trailer was in absolute disarray. All the lights were on, an electric blanket was still on, a fan was running, and his phone charger was there.
It was stuff everywhere. The floor was covered in stuff, and you couldn't really make it through very well in here because he was just throwing things around from what it seemed. His backpack was still here. It was here on the table.
But Aaron was nowhere to be found. And even though there were bags and clothes thrown everywhere, little seemed to be missing. They were unable to find his phone, as well as a little stuffed dog from his childhood that he took with him everywhere. Soon, the entire family arrived at the camper, and they searched the area for any clues they could find. It was his youngest sister who found a hat.
We started running around the property, kind of all split up, and my sister started walking down the driveway, and she found his hat. "Mom, Aaron's hat's here," and this is the hat he was wearing when they had took him to the Dollar General. Like moon-shaped.
So it looked like
dirt.
You think
Yeah.
you said somebody was sitting
It looked,
there?
yeah, it looked like somebody had sat on the bank, but it wasn't any footsteps going up the bank or anything.
His mother, too distraught, overwhelmed, and fearing the worst, was unable to call the police. And it was Kourtney who made that call.
Really an awful thing to hear is the sound of a mother not knowing where her child is. Car after car started driving up the driveway. It was one after the other. Fire rescue and the sheriff's department, police officers, just everybody showed up. But I had a lot of people that wanted to help with the search, and it was really nice to see that many people interested in wanting to come and help. That's something that kind of boosted my spirits a little bit more.
But nothing was recovered that would answer the question of what happened to him or where he might be. The only tip came from a neighbor with a security camera. This video shows a Toyota 4Runner that sat at the end of the driveway for nearly an hour before it made its way up to the trailer, spent about 15 minutes there, and then drove back down, and then drove off.
So you're saying they sat here and then they drove?
Yeah, so they sat just there at the end of the road, and then he said he would seen them drive up the driveway, and then about 10, 15 minutes later, they had come back down and then left.
No one recognized the car, and the driver has not yet been identified. Months have passed, and there has still been no sign of Aaron. No additional official searches were scheduled, and the case was quickly becoming cold. In fact, on the day of this interview, there was originally going to be a family-led community search. However, law enforcement did decide to conduct that search.
We were doing a search today, but the police decided to do the search for us, and I had a wonderful lady. She said, I can't help you search because I've just gotten off chemotherapy, but I want to help you. She bought $91 worth of snacks and water to donate to our search.
And as of this recording that you're watching, there have been no leads or credible updates. Aaron's family is continuing to fight and search for him. They believe that he wouldn't simply just run off, and that something terrible must have happened to him. Kourtney will not give up until she finds out what happened to her brother.
You never expect it to happen. Even in this small little town we have here, you don't expect things like this to happen, but it does. But I just want people to realize that this can happen to anybody out there. It can happen to your family or your friend's family, and just to hold your family close, because you don't know how long you have with them. That's all I've got.
Aaron is described as 5'9", weighing 140 pounds, and has short brown hair. He has brown eyes and a slender build. He may also go by other names such as Cody Black, Cody Smith, Cody Fortner, and Aaron Winehouse. He has tattoos on his wrists and both arms above his elbows. If you have any information, please call the Jackson County Sheriff's Office at 828-586-4355.